Hey everybody, I'm Tara from Crooked Row, and today we are going to make a cabbage dish that actually is better than meat. I know you always see that on YouTube, but this actually is. I tested it on my nephew, who absolutely is extremely picky and loves meat, and he likes to lift weights and stuff, and he said also, wow, this could replace meat. So we're gonna make that today. I'm in the greenhouse. I just finished up out here, and I decided to put on my fall apron and show you guys how to make these cabbage patties. They're fantastic. So I'm gonna bring you inside with me in my kitchen and we'll get to the recipe. Let's go. First things first, we have a pot full of water that I will bring to a boil while we are getting the cabbage prepared. Okay, so this is a farm-grown cabbage that has definitely been in our refrigerator too long, so I'm taking off the leaves that are kind of damaged. Go ahead and take this portion out just to make sure there's no core. The core can be kind of tough and really even sometimes bitter. So I'm gonna take that out as well. And then I'm going to just cut it kind of small. The next ingredient is that you dice a whole onion, and I have diced onions in my freezer that I have to use. So I'm going to put in the equivalent of a diced onion here in the skillet. And what will happen is that the water will start to kind of come out of these. And I just make sure that the water evaporates. I don't put any oil or anything in here, and it comes out just fine. So while that is cooking and this water is burning off, I'm gonna go ahead and make the carrots. So if you're following along at home and you don't have these from your freezer, just go ahead and get them. Just dice an entire whole large onion. Okay, while the onions are starting to cook off a bit, I just take some scrubbed carrots. And look, this one's all wonky right here. But you can still use that. Just cut off the tips and feed those to the chickens. And then I use a larger grate to grate these because we love the taste of carrots. Okay, this water is nice and hot. It's come to a boil, and I'm just gonna add that chopped head of cabbage in. Woo, I'm getting it everywhere. Ha! And I'm just going to push it down, bring it back to a boil for 5 minutes. Okay, so these are looking good. So I'm going to go ahead and add the carrots in with it and give that a stir. Looks like tons of carrots, but that'll wilt down a lot. Now let's go back and check on our cabbage. Okay, the timer has gone off, so I'm going to drain this, take this off the heat, and strain this into a colander. to get the water out. Okay, while the carrots and the onions and the cabbage are cooling down, I'm gonna go give the chickens the do you hear them? They're already coming running. I'm gonna give this to them. Okay, now this is sufficiently cool so that nothing is going to, especially when we add the eggs, you just don't want the eggs to be yucky. Okay, so I'm just gonna add the onion carrot mix into this bowl. There's still a little bit of heat on the carrots and onions. Now I'm going to add a half a cup of all-purpose flour. I'm gonna add 1 cup of panko crumbs. Okay, I'm gonna add a teaspoon of salt, and I'm gonna add 1 tablespoon of chili powder. Actually, I think I might add 2 tablespoons of chili powder. Half a tablespoon of garlic powder. Half a tablespoon of smoked paprika. And we just cut some of this fresh thyme Elijah did out the garden for me. So I'm gonna add some thyme while we still have it. While we still have time. I'm just pulling them backwards off the stem. So the leaves go up this way. And so I just go backwards to pull all those leaves off. About a teaspoon of cracked black pepper. 6 eggs. Okay, and then I'm gonna mix this. Okay, I have about a tablespoon of oil in here. We like coconut oil, that's just our preference, but you can use any oil that you actually prefer. I'm gonna put this on a medium heat. Let this get pretty hot. And you'll notice that when I had mixed this, like, you kind of continually mix it until it is super duper mixed in.
That's good. Nice and savory.
Is it better than meat? That's what they always say on the internet. It's better than meat.
It's definitely like kind of like with the texture. It's a lot like what you would think of a meat dish. It's juicy. You've got the cabbage in there, so you've got the moistness in it. So it makes for a nice like meat dish alternative.
Okay.
I really like the spices in this and the thyme on top of the sour cream.
That's
it
good.
makes it like really good. Yeah.
All right, guys, taste and tell me what you think.
Okay. This tastes delicious.
You like it?
It's awesome. Yeah.
Well, I hope you're not getting wind right now. I apologize if you are, but that was a fantastic cabbage patty recipe. Something I'd like to point out is that the cabbage that we grew was really big, and so I went back and I added 2 more eggs. I added extra ingredients, I added extra seasoning off from the recipe, and it's because all the recipes that I found for this just said 1 head of cabbage. And as you know, you can have, you know, Jersey Wakefields that are like a pound. And you can get tiny little heads of cabbage, and that's 1 cabbage. But this was a very large head of cabbage, and I think that one was, let's see, what kind of cabbage was that? I can't remember. So we love this recipe. It pairs well with just about anything and be great with some mashed potatoes. I think we're gonna have baked potatoes tonight though. This is a keeper. All my family loves this recipe. I do want to give some caution though about the recipe. So there's going to be variances, and you kind of have to end up making this recipe your own. So like we love the chili powder and the smoked paprika and, you know, garlic, salt, pepper, all of that. But, you know, dill is fantastic with cabbage. And so dill would be really good in that. Tarragon might even be pretty good with that. What I highly suggest to do is to get your batter ready and put what spices you want in it, and then fry one, just a tester, just a tiny one, and see if that's what you want. Like the very first batch that I made, it started to fall apart, and that's what I'm saying. Like the cabbage head was just so big from the last batch that we did that it was necessary for me to add more eggs. So you can kind of play with this recipe each time that you make it, and then have your own family's recipe. And I love that we have a book. We have like a binder here of our family recipes. After years and years of trying different recipes, we finally came to a consensus. All 6 of us, we have found our family pancake recipe. So we love to that's like a whole thing for us where we go and we put that in, and it's a big deal when we find a recipe that all 6 of us agree on. So hopefully you have a binder or a recipe book, or maybe it's just an index card thing, you know, where you add your recipes on the index cards. But it's so much fun to try these with our families. But the big thing too, I want to remind you, is the garlic came from our garden, the onions came from our garden, the carrots came from our garden, the cabbage comes from our garden. These are recipes that we can grow. There's like times of insecurity and things right now. I know there's people who, you know, want us to stop eating meat and things like that, but I feel like, you know, we need to have security. And I think that this recipe shows that you can still eat well. If you make it with potatoes, grow your potatoes. Even the eggs, as you can hear my rooster sounding off in the background, even the eggs are from the farm. So I think the only thing that's not from the farm was chili powder and black pepper. So all other things can be grown, and even if you live in the suburbs, all these things can be bought, of course, but they can, in small beds, you can grow these things. Maybe not cabbage because they get pretty big, but all the other items you can definitely grow. Maybe you could grow 1 cabbage head. But cabbage is extremely inexpensive, so you could buy that from your local grocer and make this recipe. I just want to make sure that this channel is putting out like tips, tricks, and options, because sometimes we forget that, you know, you don't just have to make coleslaw and sauerkraut with our cabbage. There's many beautiful recipes out there to make with your cabbage. So I'm gonna go back into my house, and I'm going to finish off dinner of cabbage patties. And I have to say that cabbage patties really reminds me of SpongeBob SquarePants. I think it's because of Krabby Patties, but whatever. I just thought it was really cute. But so Let us know if you make your own Krabby Patties and what you put in yours, because I love to try what other people are doing and the flavors and tastes and all of that. So remember, if we can make Cabbage Patties, anybody can. Thanks. Bye.